Howdy folks, I'm Amazing Apple Pie, affably applying appetizing aromas.
I'm Amber.
And that's right folks, we've reached the fall season that isn't Halloween. So we're on to new types of foods that are meant for Thanksgiving. So prepare for a feast over the next month or so. Let's get started. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Eating Red Berries Draped Decoratively on My Plate? I went to a dinner hosted by a coworker. When we were seated, the plate was set with a strand of red berries laid across the napkin, wrapped cutlerily atop the plate. I didn't recognize them, but they were just plain berries, nothing seemingly inedible about them. I popped a few into my mouth. They were sweet at first, but then left a strange feeling and aftertaste in my mouth. So I stopped, but not before the host noticed and made a big incredulous deal about why I would do that and how he didn't know if they were edible or not. Other guests laughed as if it was obvious that I shouldn't have tried to eat them. I was embarrassed, but didn't want to draw more attention to myself, so I didn't argue. But I do feel like you shouldn't put something that looks edible on a plate if you didn't mean for people to eat it, and doubt that everyone would think that it was obvious as the host made it seem. All right, folks, what do you think?
I mean, I don't think Opie's necessarily in the wrong here. It seems like an honest mistake. He saw something foody on his table and assumed it was edible. The host probably should have been a bit more clear if people weren't supposed to eat the garnishes. I
Yeah.
mean, granted, Opie could have asked first to make sure they were edible, but I can see why he would just assume they were like an appetizer or something.
Yeah, if I see berries on a plate, I'm going to assume that they're edible during a dinner party. I mean, come on. I think that OP had, every right to think that a garnish would be edible here, right? Because, like, sometimes they'll garnish your plate with, like, pickles or
Yeah,
lettuce
or
or
like a
other,
sprig of parsley or
yeah.
something.
And those are perfectly edible, right? They're garnishes. There's nothing inedible about them. It's not like they dip them in poison so that you
If you eat this pickle, you die.
yeah. So no, I mean certainly I don't think that it's an unfair expectation. I think that it's more of a, if you want to make a garnish, there's lots of berries that are edible out there, and so they could have used any of those.
Well, and why would you use berries you're not sure if they're edible or not? Like,
Hmm.
if he didn't want to use like you can use fake berries, the styrofoam or something like that, plastic. If you don't want people eating them and you want to reuse them, but just grabbing kind of random berries seems kind of dicey.
Hmm. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Sammy George says, wait, it was a strand of berries on top of the napkin rolled cutlery? I mean, I'm not going to call you a jerk because that doesn't make you a jerk, but like, why? Editing to add judgment, no jerks here, I suppose. And OP replies, lately I've gone to events that they're pushing for low waste and use a lot of edible decorations and favors. Last weekend, I went to a brunch that had cookies as a place card. I thought that the berries were a cool idea. I mean, under those kind of things, I can even see why OP would assume this, right?
Hmm. Well, and I mean, that is a good idea if you can do things low waste or if you can repurpose them for later times. It is really disappointing when people do things with like a lot of, very unsustainable materials. Like, I will get things in plastics and whatnot, but then I would like to reuse them, like
Hmm.
centerpieces again and again.
Yeah, I think that it's unfortunate and wasteful to put berries that you can't eat on a plate. I don't know.
Although I guess like if they're natural, at least like when you throw them out, they will still decay.
Hmm. And bad advice from a spider says, don't eat berries or mushrooms that you can't recognize. That's ridiculous. And OP replies, I can't name any mushrooms. And bad advice from a spider says, you don't have to, you just have to recognize them. I mean, if they're mushrooms from a grocery store, yes, you can eat them because a grocery store doesn't sell poisonous mushrooms, right?
Right. Well, it's not like Opie was out foraging for
Hmm.
these. Like, if someone made me a dish with like it has like little mushroom chunks in it, I have no idea how to tell what kind of mushroom this is.
Yeah, like if someone put like mushrooms on your napkin as like a garnish, I'm going to assume that those are edible mushrooms. I'm not going to be like, oh, look, it's nightshade. Or nightshade isn't a mushroom,
No, it's
but you
not.
know what I mean. Look, it's death caps.
Yeah.
So I think that it's a very reasonable expectation to put only edible things on people's plates. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Kicking My Sister Out of My Wedding After She Borrowed My Wedding Dress for Her Own Photo Shoot Without Asking? So here's the deal. I'm getting married next month and I'm super excited. I finally found the perfect wedding dress. It's stunning, elegant, and exactly what I've always dreamed of. My sister, who has always been a bit of a drama queen, asked me if she could, quote, try it on for fun a few weeks ago. I told her no, obviously, because it's my wedding dress and I don't want anything to happen to it or for her to try it on and take the spotlight from me. Well, fast forward to last weekend, and I found out through the grapevine that my sister took my dress while I was at my bridal shower. She borrowed it to do a ridiculous photo shoot in some random field with her friends, and she even posted the pictures on social media, captioning it wedding vibes. I was livid when I saw it. This is the day that I've been dreaming about for my entire life, and she completely disrespected me and my wedding dress. So I confronted her, and she had the audacity to say that it was just a dress and that I was overreacting. I lost it, and I told her that she couldn't come to my wedding if she was going to be so inconsiderate. She is now telling all of the family members that I'm the villain for kicking her out of the wedding when she just was trying to have some fun. I genuinely can't believe she turned it into a pity party. I feel like she wanted to steal my thunder, and I'm not about to let it happen on my big day. Am I the jerk for standing my ground and telling her that she can't come to our wedding? All right, folks, what do you think?
Not the jerk. She stole your dress and took pictures in it beforehand. I mean, if you really wanted to go after her, you could like contact the police and be like, my sister took my dress. Here, there's proof of it. They probably won't do anything, but if they talk to her, it might scare her. I'm not saying do that, but like you didn't even do that. You know, you just told her she can't come to your wedding. And I think that's a good choice. If your sister has a tendency to make it all about her, I could see her like making snide comments about how, oh, isn't it funny that I already wore your dress first or things like that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think calling the police will do anything, to be quite frank,
No, I don't think it will either.
yeah, because the dress is already returned. Um, and so I don't know if the police getting the police involved in this situation is going to help. OP needs to just, like you said, not invite their sister to this wedding. I think that that's going to be a perfectly acceptable punishment for the sister here. Now, I could understand it if she had been like, oh, after your wedding, can I borrow your dress, right? And get some photos from it. But the fact of the matter is that she chose to do it before OP's wedding for a reason,
Right,
right?
so she could be the first one to wear the dress and have the first pictures in the dress.
Mm-hmm. Because if this was just a matter of wanting to borrow the dress, then she would have asked after OP had been married, right? Been like, oh, now that you've gotten your wedding out of the way, can I borrow your dress? It was a really pretty dress, and I want to post some pictures on online or Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And OP still would have been entitled to say no at
Mm-hmm.
that point in time if she wanted to, because it is her dress.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm guessing from the way that OP's writing this, she would be more willing at that point in time because she just didn't want her dress to get ruined or damaged or have her thunder stolen, right?
Well, and that's the thing, is the sister was taking a big risk in taking this very expensive, delicate garment out for a spin.
Yeah,
There are so many things that could have gone wrong.
yeah. So I don't think that OP is wrong for uninviting her, and I think that any of the family members, they just need to mind their own business at this point in time. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Beck R says, the wedding dress is now used since she wore it before your wedding day. I tell her that if she pays the cost of a completely new dress, you would consider allowing her to attend, maybe. And send the group message to everyone that she's complaining about. I'm not banning my sister-in-law from the wedding because she wanted to have fun. I'm banning her because after I told her absolutely not to touch my dress, she stole it. She wore it as a prop to get likes on Instagram. This was my wedding dress and she ruined it. I don't want to hear about any excuses. I just want everyone to know the real reason that my sister ruined our relationship. And OP replies, seriously, am I the only one that thinks that this is a huge breach of trust? I can't believe she expected me just to let this slide. And Maddie Kett says, this is my wedding dress that I haven't even worn yet. That part is extra important, not the jerk. And Mia Villa says she crossed a huge boundary by taking OP's dress without permission. Kicking her out is completely justified. And Lila Nefeli says she disrespected OP and her wedding by taking the dress. Standing her ground is the right thing to do. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Today I messed up by buying a tarot deck made by AI. I am so angry and shocked. I wandered into a farmer's market today and ended up buying a guided tarot deck at a witchy booth. The woman selling them told me that the art was made by her and her husband. I was messing around with the cards and the guide pamphlet when I saw that there was a disclaimer listed inside of it. Artwork was made by AI. I didn't even consider it until I looked at the back of the cards and realized how disgustingly obvious it is. Not only that, but I realize now that under the tables of brief card descriptions, it says that they were pulled from astrology.com or some nonsense like that. I refuse to use the deck because there's no heart put into it at all. It cost me $40. I'm writing this in my bed because it's literally keeping me awake. I'm so mad because her slimy, pathetic excuse for a deck is putting bad energy on tarot. Alright folks, what do you think?
I just feel bad for OP in this situation. Like, I have a real problem with using AI and stolen quotes to create this book. It seems like she put very little of her own energy and thought into this. She just went to astrology.com and took their descriptions. She had AI generate the images, and now she's making a ton of profit pretending like she's a small local business.
So I think that OP should definitely, next time they go to the farmer's market, try to find this person and demand a refund. And maybe, just maybe, there's like contact information inside the deck. And then that way OP doesn't have to deal with this deck and they can get their money back. And I think that everyone who doesn't like this kind of stuff, they can make the same kind of demands, right? And I think what the person did here was extraordinarily lazy, right? There's nothing wrong with using AI to augment certain things, right? Like if you're trying to get a sketch for an idea or something like that, sometimes AI can help you get an idea, but you shouldn't be using AI directly as your own work.
Right. It's one thing to use it as like a sounding board to bounce ideas off of. It's something completely different to have it doing all the hard work.
So I think that OP has every right to be upset by this because they were expecting authentic art, and what they've gotten isn't made by the person who they thought it was made by. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. At least they were decent enough to put a disclaimer in there.
Yeah, but it's too bad they weren't up front at the farmer's market.
And Sweet Bunny Blood says, Bro, who cares how it's made? No one owes you anything, including working with tools that you would prefer. And OP replies, the seller owes me the product that they advertised to me. And Sweet Bunny Blood says, they made the decks using a tool, that's all. No one needs to tell you what tools they used. The fact that she mentioned it is weird. It's like sticking a made in Photoshop on it or something like that. What do you think about that comment?
I mean, I don't like the idea that, like, it does matter to a lot of people how their products are made, and I think it's important to be upfront with how products are made. And sometimes, you know, we are fine just kind of like not knowing and like, but I feel like if someone wants that information, they should be entitled to it. They should be able to make informed consumer decisions.
Well, where I kind of have a problem is that when they were at the booth, the person said that this was made by me and my partner or whatever, right?
It's not, she misrepresented it.
Yeah. So this wasn't made by them. They put it together, but they used all AI and they used, you know, other people's work and passed it off as their own, which is the big problem here, right?
Yeah.
All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
Knock, knock.
Who is there?
Rhino.
Rhino who?
Rhino, every funny joke there is.
You don't know every funny joke that there is.
Hey, I didn't say that I don't also know unfunny ones.
Yeah, well, that's fair. That's fair. And I have the special guest tea again. It's the matcha. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Fantastic Friday, folks. I hope your Friday is off to a fantastic start. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it as though you just found out the berries were poisoned.
Why did you poison me?
Well, there you have it, folks. We'll have no more Amber from here on out. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.
I refuse to use the deck because there's no heart put into it at all. It cost me $40. Ducks. It cost me 40 ducks.